Jeff, I'm unhappy. I want to get a divorce. Although Jeff was somewhat shocked, he wasn't completely unprepared. Darlene, his wife of nearly 20 years, had been spending a lot of time lately talking with her friend and so-called marriage expert Miranda. Miranda's expertise was based on the fact that she had been through 3 divorces. Jeff, can you hear me? I want to get a divorce. Yes, Dar, I heard you. But this is a very serious question. I don't want to answer hastily. I thought I was as loving and faithful a husband as possible. I thought I was a good father. You never mentioned problems in our sex life, so I have absolutely no idea what happened. But after realizing what you said, my answer is, I cannot bear the thought of our marriage interfering with your happiness. Although it breaks my heart, I will support you in your divorce. But can you tell me if your decision is due to something that happened recently, or if it's something that's been building up over time? Darlene responded, yes, it was building up. I need some space, time to explore other things, meet other people. It is my understanding that the court requires that we be legally separated within 90 days of signing the paperwork. At the end of this time, I may change my mind and want to stay in the marriage. We don't have to get a divorce. Her husband reflected, this is close to what I've heard other people say about their divorces. During the 90-day period, we can both date other people without it being considered cheating. But at the end of this time, we both must agree to stop the divorce. Any of us, however, can proceed with the divorce without the consent of the other party. Jeff realized that Darlene had not fully considered that he would have the same freedom that she wanted. I thought that if I filed first, it would be up to me whether to continue the marriage or go for divorce. Darlene was losing control of the conversation. Jeff countered, I don't think that's right, but just in case, I'll also file so we're on the same page. Don't you think it's fair? Darlene stammered, I think so. Are you saying that you want a divorce? Obviously, I was under the wrong impression that I was an adequate husband, father, and lover. No, I don't want a divorce, but I won't stand in the way of what you want. Darling, I never said that you were inadequate. You were a wonderful husband, father, and lover. I just want to experience something new and different, spend time with other people. This might help me feel better. I just need some time. Being officially separated will give me that freedom. Darlene, your need for more than I can give you is the definition of my inadequacy. He gave her time to process this, and then continued, have you hired a lawyer and prepared the documents yet? She ignored his response about her inadequacy. No, I don't have documents yet. I plan to contact J.R. Lewis. He handled Miranda's divorces. Everything became clear here. Miranda pushed Darlene to demand more from her marriage. Well, I'll probably ask my cousin, Sally, to handle my part of the divorce. Sally? The same bitch from hell? Dar, I know you don't like Sally, but she's a really good person. Her reputation as a bitch stems from her behavior in the courtroom. She truly fights for her clients, whether they are men or women. Ironically, after the last family barbecue, perhaps because she had had too much to drink, Sally volunteered that if I ever needed a divorce lawyer, she would do it for free. Jeff continued, wow. We need to discuss a lot of things. I suggest taking the next 2 weeks to prepare for your separation divorce. Thus, we can begin our separation from the first of the month. This is fine. I think yes. I don't understand why we have to do anything until the separation is over. Jeff explained, well, I guess the purpose of separation is to understand what it would be like to be divorced, so we can decide if we really want a divorce. This means that the period of separation should be a kind of rehearsal for life after divorce. Otherwise, we are more likely to realize that we didn't want this or didn't want that until after the divorce, and it can be very confusing. Does this make sense to you? I think yes. I didn't think about it. Darlene's resolve was weakening. You know, why don't we go into the kitchen, grab a notepad, and start planning out everything we need to do? I'll put the coffee on. With that, Jeff got out of bed and headed to the kitchen, leaving Darlene at a loss. By the time Darlene reached the kitchen, the coffee was already brewing and Jeff was busy writing something in a notepad. Okay, Jeff continued. There's so much to consider, it's hard to decide what's most important to begin with. I think we need to talk about the kids first. What do you mean? Well, we'll have to explain to them what's going on, and we'll both have to say the same thing and try not to make them feel like our divorce is their fault. Darlene became very worried. The two girls were very emotional and might not take the bad news well. I don't see why they need to explain this. Can't we just wait 90 days and maybe we won't have to explain anything to them at all? But dear, how will you explain to them when they ask, why doesn't Daddy live here anymore? But why won't you live here? We will remain their mother and father. I thought you would continue to live here during the separation, and we could go out sometimes without disrupting the children's lives. I don't think this will work, Dar. First, it would mean that we would have to coordinate our dating schedules. One of us might get angry at the other if one of us wants to go on a date one night and the other says it's inconvenient. We may think that the other is trying to stop us from dating. Most importantly, how are you going to experience what it would be like if we got divorced, if I still do all the things you would do if we got divorced? In addition, children may guess or be told that we were seen with other people. We will have to explain this not only to the girls, but to all our relatives and friends. Otherwise, they might think that we are cheating on each other. The worst thing is that I'm afraid that no matter how we explain it to them, they'll probably think it's their fault. It's unfortunate, but as far as I understand from child psychology, it is impossible to prevent children of divorce from feeling guilty. We just need to make sure we're saying the same thing and really emphasizing our love for them. They are good kids and will probably get used to it eventually, although it may take professional therapy. Heck, they might even love having extra grandparents from your new boyfriend and my new girlfriend. More gifts for birthdays and holidays. Of course, we will have to very carefully coordinate where and when we spend birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. We can barely do this now with only grandparents. Besides, if I stay in the house, you'll have to meet your man at his place or at a fancy motel. It would be wrong to bring a lover home when the other one of us is home with the children. Additionally, we need to figure out what two households will mean for our finances. Obviously, this will mean that we will have less money to live on because we will add the cost of rent and utilities for my apartment to our current expenses. You will have to get used to paying and taking care of all the things that we now share or I do myself for the family. Joint assets are usually divided equally. This means we will have to close all joint accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, and then there is alimony and child support. God, we have so much to do before the first of the month. Darlene sat there in shock. She didn't know what to say. Jeff continued. I will try to find an apartment closer to work. 2-room. This way the girls will have a bed when they stay overnight on days when I have visits. A visit? The standard for visitation in most divorces is that the non-stay-at-home spouse sees the children every other weekend and every other major holiday, unless the stay-at-home spouse agrees to more. Jeff, I expected you to see the girls a lot more often. There is homework, sports, theater, and other activities that you are used to, and you and them seem to be enjoying your time together so much. Darling, I will try to be a part of their lives as much as possible. However, you and/or your boyfriend-husband must be willing to take on some of what I did. It's just reality. Evening visits will be difficult because it is better for them to be at home since they have school the next day. If I find someone else, she might have kids and I might have to help them with homework and extracurricular activities too. You may have to help your new husband with his children. Then there's the problem of storing clothes and toiletries in 2 places, transportation to school since I may not live on their school's bus route, and just a disruption to the routine. It won't be easy for all of us. This is not how Miranda said things would go, Darlene thought to herself. She said my husband would give in at the mention of divorce and offered to continue doing everything for the family, but also allow me to date others on the side. I'm losing control of the situation. Jeff, I'm confused. I need to think about all this. We can talk about this tomorrow. I'll go back to bed. Will you come? She was hoping he would come, and she would try to use sex to get him to give in without all this rant about sharing responsibilities and finances. Sorry, honey, but I need to write down a few more ideas of things to do before I go to bed. You know how my brain works. The more we settle before the first of the month, the better we will both feel. Good night, darling. Darlene hardly slept. She needed to talk to Miranda and tell her about Jeff's unexpected reaction. Miranda knew exactly what to do next. This confidence allowed her to finally fall asleep. When she woke up to start her day, she immediately noticed that Jeff hadn't slept in bed with her, and the bed didn't look like he'd slept there the night before. Damn it! That idiot spent all night working on that segregation of duties list. But when she entered the kitchen, Jeff was not there. Just a notepad on the kitchen table. Darlene looked into the guest bedroom and found her husband fast asleep. She returned and started preparing breakfast. While she was cooking, she looked at the notepad. Under the heading, things Darlene responsible for were mortgage, home insurance, gas, water, electric, cable, cellular, garbage, internet security, car payments, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, LifeLight Medevac, and so on. This is on top of all the banking changes they were talking about last night. On the next page was a forecast of his new expenses associated with living in the apartment and a budget proposal showing how much child support she would need to maintain the current standard of living for her and the girls. It turned out that they would be short several $100s a month. He also compiled a list of ways to cut costs. Jeff will have to give up his favorite trips to Waffle House and Starbucks. This will be very painful for him, she chuckled. He then added her gym membership, the women's groups she belonged to, and dining out no more than once a week. He even listed some expenses for the children as several extracurricular activities included fees, uniforms, and other necessary materials to pay for. The impact on the children was not part of the calculation of her divorce scheme. On another page was a list of duties that Darlene would have to do herself or hire someone else to do. The list included gassing up the car, regular car maintenance, which mechanic to call, which plumber to call, which heating and air conditioning repair service to call, mowing the lawn, washing the car, grocery shopping, etc. She couldn't keep looking at the notepad. Damn it. Why doesn't Jeff act like he should and give me what I want? I need to call Miranda before Jeff wakes up. Hello. Miranda? This is Darlene. We need to speak quietly because Jeff is sleeping nearby. How did it go last night? Miranda's voice expressed excitement and anticipation of a positive response from Darlene. Instead of asking what he could do to make things better so I wouldn't divorce him, he agreed to the separation and then started making a list of all the things he was doing now that I would have to do if we divorced. Jeff plans to rent an apartment and only take care of the girls every other weekend. He says we need to actually separate and act as if we're actually divorced so we can make a more informed decision about whether we want a divorce after 90 days. He doesn't act like divorce is really scary for him. What should I do? Gift, gift, gift. Stupid girl. He's just trying to deceive you. He's bluffing. There's no chance he'll sign any real papers. It's pathetic that he has to list all the little things he does to make you think you need him more than you think. Ultimately, you have control over the children, and you have control over the area between your legs. These two things alone will keep him in line. This is all talk on his part, don't worry. Soon you and Robert will be making Mamba in bed, and you will still have a husband and a home. I hope you're right and Robert is worth it. Well, Jeff hasn't done anything yet. I'll stay strong, at least until I see what, if anything, he's really going to do. Thank you, Miranda. He is waking up. I have to go. Darlene nervously asked, Hey, Jeff, do you want some coffee? Her husband walked up to the coffee maker, staggering slightly, and said, Drinking coffee this late last night was a bad idea. I hardly slept. Why didn't you come to our bed? Well, I walked, but I didn't trust myself. What do you mean, dear? I saw you there, sleeping naked, and I got really horny. You are still the most beautiful woman I know. I was afraid that if you allowed me to have sex, it would only be pity sex to ease my pain from your divorce petition. I couldn't trust myself not to give in. Honey, we're still married. I am yours and only yours, at least until the separation begins. Can't we continue to act like husband and wife until then? I'm afraid not. I am more confident than ever that we need to begin separation actions as soon as possible. Even if the official separation begins only on the first of the month, it really began from the moment you said, "I'm unhappy. I want a divorce. It will be difficult for me, but I really want to see you happy, even if I am no longer an important part of your life." Jeff, you seem to be forgetting. It's really just a separation, and we don't have to get a divorce. Relax. Give me a little time to figure myself out, and I'm sure we will stay married, and it will be even better than before. I would like to believe it. I decided to take the day off. Billy can lead maintenance crews one day. This way I can begin some activities to prepare us for our separation. These actions won't take effect until the first of the month, so we'll have 90 full days to really experience what it would be like if we got divorced. By the way, I'll withdraw more cash for us than usual. You will need to use cash until we receive your own credit and debit cards. Luckily, we both have separate checking accounts other than the joint one. I will transfer half the amount in the joint account to each of our separate accounts. We need to do this now so that we have new cards and checks by the 1st of March. I'll tell you tonight what I've done and what you need to do to manage your portion of the assets. Oh, you better hurry up so you don't be late for work. I will take care of breakfast for the children and send them to school. Darlene was not very helpful in her job as an office manager for State Farm Insurance. Robert came in to flirt as usual, tall, with dark wavy hair and a smile that made women unbutton their blouses in hopes that he would stop and talk to them. After he told Darlene how beautiful she was and how underestimated she was, he asked when they could make beautiful music in the elevator again. She really wanted to tell him when they could be alone and spend more time together than they had done so far. Darlene began to get excited again and told Robert that it wouldn't be long before they could be together in a more comfortable environment. She'll call him later about the elevator. When he left, her worries about being separated from Jeff were replaced by memories of kissing, caressing, and groping Robert on the all-too-short elevator rides they'd had over the past few months since he'd come to work in their office. When she returned home from work, Darlene noticed that Jeff had been home during the day. She felt emotionally better prepared to discuss the financial issues Jeff had discussed. For her, it was simple. I have 90 days to have fun, we stay married, and then I try to figure out how Robert and I can have sex without getting caught. She sat down at the kitchen table and looked at her notebook again. Jeff added a few more items to the list. Then she noticed a new list. It was titled Possible Women to Date. There were 2 columns, Women who have already expressed interest, and Women you can ask if they are interested. The columns weren't very long, but the names in the first column shocked her. One of them was her own sister Erica, this which Darlene called her immediately. Erica responded, "Hi, dear. How are you? How dare you try to take my husband away? You are a slut. Hey, calm down, girl. What the hell is this?" Jeff made a list of women who told him they were interested in dating him, and your name was on that list. I don't know anything about any list, but one day, after a few extra drinks, I told him that if he ever wisens up and leaves your stupid, ungrateful, I'd like to fill out an application for your place. Wait, are you saying you're having trouble with him? Did you catch him, or did he catch you cheating? No, I haven't cheated on anyone. Yet, Jeff and I are just going to do a 90-day separation and then decide if we want to stay married or not. It's not that important. Obviously, you have someone in mind, but I don't care. So what you're saying is that soon you will be officially separated, and if anyone wants to sleep with Jeff, there is nothing you can do. Let me know the date, and I guarantee that 1 second after midnight I will call him and beg him for a date, and make it clear that my body is his, and that I am not my sister, and I will be absolutely faithful to him as long as I live. You better stay away from him, or. Or what, big sister? There is nothing you can do if you have an official separation. And most importantly, you asked for it yourself. All these years you have been bragging about what a good provider he is, what a good husband and father he is. Most of all, you talked about what a wonderful lover he is. And you want to throw it away? How stupid are you? Have you suddenly become blonde? Like I said, let me know as soon as it becomes available. For the first time in my life, I will be glad to receive an item from my older sister. Bye. Darlene tried to calm down after the call. It didn't help that she looked at the lists of women again. She saw Jenny, his secretary, who had been working for him for 6 months. A single mother of one, short, absolutely beautiful, but almost 20 years younger than Jeff. However, she was first on the list, which meant she had expressed interest in dating her husband. Probably desperate for a rich daddy to take care of her and her baby. 2 of the names on the list were women from their area, one of whom was married. I think that's what the M next to her name stands for. The other 2 names seemed to be women who worked where Jeff did. She only recognized the names of a few of the women on the C if they're interested list. They were also from the area. Jeff worked a lot as a free handyman for his neighbors. Although he had a degree in psychology, he worked as a jack of all trades while in college. He loved the job, and the business grew so much that he now had 3 teams of workers. I think he did plumbing not only for houses, but also for women. The 3 women on the list had no names, only the labels: waitress from Waffle House, barista from Starbucks, and clerk from Walmart. I wonder how many other women find him as attractive as Erica does. I really didn't think he would date during the separation. Maybe he already has someone in mind. Jeff walked into the house and saw his wife looking at the notepad. He was almost sure what the next topic of discussion would be. Well, Jeff, it looks like you wasted no time finding a replacement for me. My own sister. How could you? I was just trying to catch up with you and your choice of boyfriend. What? What do you mean? I have no boyfriend. I just want to explore new relationships. What about Robert Turner? How do you know about? What does Robert Turner have to do with this? I was at Walmart today and met Sylvia, your boss's secretary, during her lunch break. She's an old gossip. Don't believe a word she says. After a long pause, Darlene couldn't resist asking, out of curiosity, what did she say? Sylvia said, I understand that you are good friends with one of our new employees, Robert Turner. I must have looked puzzled to her because she explained, since he visits your wife's office several times a day, and they eat lunch together every day, I asked Darlene what was going on. You know, our president has a strict policy on interoffice relations. Anyway, she explained that Robert is an old friend of your husband's from college, and that you often do things together. I looked at her like now I remember and said, oh yes, Robert. I used to call him Bob. So that's the reason why I think Robert is at least one of the men you want to experiment with during your separation. How far along are you in your research? I was just trying to get this nosy grandma out of my business. Robert is just a friend. We didn't do anything special except talk. And yes, he could probably be one of the people I would like to date. He's very nice to me and compliments my looks even when I'm not at my best. Nothing special. Did you do anything that would make you feel embarrassed if I saw it? As Darlene recalled the scenes in the elevator, her expression revealed the answer. Perhaps more importantly, did you do anything that his wife would not approve of? Wife, he's not married. Who told you that he is married? Who do you take me for? Well, you're not very interested in the men you want to explore relationships with. Here, I'll open his Facebook page again. This is where I found this information. Here, look. Is this Robert Turner? Well, yes. What is written about his marital status? It says he is married to Cynthia and has 2 sons. Trying to quickly come up with an explanation, Darlene added, it could be old information. He may already be divorced. Look again. Updated 3 days ago. Don't you think he would update something as important as his marriage status? And look what his wife wrote last time. The boys and I can't wait to join Robert when the school year ends. Johnny and Robert Jr., however, have become important players on the school baseball team and could make it to the state tournament. We will reunite our family as soon as the school year ends, or perhaps later if they actually make it to the tournament. That bastard. I swear he didn't tell me he was married. I wouldn't ruin someone's marriage. You don't mind ruining your own marriage. There was silence. Darlene knew she was exposed. She needed time to think. Robert was the main reason she wanted the separation, but she couldn't let Jeff find out about it. Well, he was just one of several men I might be interested in. I can make a list like you too. Jeff chimed in. Oh my God, I just thought of something important. If we decide to stay married after separation, we should exchange medical reports to make sure we both don't have styes. You're just trying to be mean. Just be careful. I wasn't planning on dating someone since it might only be for 90 days, but if I feel the need for sex, I can approach a girl for money. I'm sure you'll want to feel as safe as I do. Remember, it's not just you. This is the one with whom you sleep, and those with whom they slept before you, and so on. Jeff tried not to show how much he enjoyed tightening the screws on Darlene's plan. While Darlene fumed, Jeff changed the subject. Okay, Dar, I promised to let you know what I did to help with the separation process. I got a lot done today, most with a start date of March 1st. Banking and credit cards are something you need to do right away so you have easy access to money. Mortgage, utility bills, etc. could be resolved in the next week or so. Oh, I have good news on the financial side. Did I tell you that my secretary Jenny works as a night manager at the Royal Arms? These apartments are close to work, so I asked her about vacancies, and they have a 2-bedroom apartment, but I need to act quickly. They are usually too expensive, but she said that if I became an apartment maintenance worker, I could get a 50% discount on rent. That means more money for you and the kids. Darlene chimed in. You haven't signed the lease yet, have you? Remember, we have 90 days, and you can come back if you play your cards right. She wanted to say something about his secretary being a greedy bitch, but decided that would make things worse. No, I haven't signed the lease. Yet. I'm afraid I had to explain why I was looking for an apartment. She said they don't usually rent for a month, but since it's only for 90 days, she thinks she can get approved. When Jenny found out about the separation, she said she wanted me to ask her out. I was surprised, considering the age difference and all. I didn't know she found me attractive. I told her I was flattered, but the rules at work did not allow employees and their managers to have anything more than a professional relationship. Jenny said she could find a job as a secretary elsewhere if that's all she needed, so I put her on the list. Darlene was seething with anger. She bit her tongue because her thoughts would make the situation even worse if she voiced them. Instead of waiting for Darlene to say something, Jeff continued, Another thing you have to love. I booked 2 tickets for a 10-day vacation to Hawaii. I waited to tell you because it was supposed to be a surprise for our 20th anniversary. Darlene changed her demeanor abruptly. Hawaii? Oh, Jeff. You know how I always wanted to get there. It's amazing. I can't wait to lie on the beaches and swim in the ocean. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jeff's face, however, showed no joy. We are not going to Hawaii. When you told me you wanted a divorce, I had to assume that we might not make it to our 20th anniversary. When I tried to cancel and get a refund, they said that at this late stage, I could only get a 20% refund. After I thought about it, I realized that going to Hawaii was truly your dream. I thought you should go anyway, so I arranged for them to change the tickets for you and another person you name later. It could be a rewarding start to your new relationship if you offer your new man an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii. But, Jeff, you're the one I wanted to go to Hawaii with. We could postpone this separation. In fact, I'm thinking about canceling the whole thing. I'm not so unhappy in my life now that I've thought about it. Sorry, Dar. I've thought about this a lot. I don't think I can enjoy myself knowing we're going back to a possible divorce. Even if you call off the divorce, you can't undo what you said you wanted, and you can't undo my imagination of what you and Robert did when you didn't do anything special. I'm afraid I'll continue with the divorce even though I can't imagine my life without you and being only a half-father to my girls." Jeff went upstairs to the guest bedroom. Darlene was devastated. She knew only one place to turn. "Miranda," she called. "Hi, Darlene. How are things?" "Miranda, everything has gone to hell. Jeff has found an apartment and his skinny secretary has already made a move on him, and my sister wants a chance on him too. The worst part is that he booked us tickets to Hawaii for our anniversary and gave them to me, but he won't go. He said I could use them to take my new boyfriend with me. What should I do?" "Hey, what's the problem? You and Robert will have a great time in the sun, fun and incredible sex." "No, I found out that Robert is married, and that his wife and children will move here in a few months. I don't want to go to Hawaii with him. I want to go with Jeff." "Wait a minute, I just realized what's going on," Miranda countered. "Damn, Jeff is smarter than I thought. He lies about booking the trip before today. It's just to make you feel guilty and cancel everything. Expose his lies, and he will give you everything you want. Don't worry, with your hot figure, you will quickly find boyfriends as good or better than Robert and still have a husband and family." "Oh my God, I never thought he could be so insidious. Sons of bitches, I'll make him pay for this. Thank you, Miranda. I was ready to give up. Now he will really regret it. Let's talk later." When Jeff came back downstairs, he had a small suitcase. Darlene said, "So you're trying to pretend you're moving out already? Don't worry, and have a nice journey." "Actually, I was just going to take a few things to the apartment so as not to move everything at once and not scare the girls. Jenny said I could move a few things in advance while the apartment was available. It seems your mood has changed since we spoke earlier. Let me guess, you talked to your marriage expert Miranda. You really should talk to a real marriage expert if you want to save our marriage. Miranda is a divorce expert. That's the only thing she's good at. Don't try to hook me by insulting Miranda. She's on my side. She realized that you pulled a scam with tickets to Hawaii. You made up this story to make me cancel everything. This won't work. I still want a divorce and can't wait to start the separation. There are plenty of men who want me and will give me what I need." "You're absolutely right, at least about men wanting you. I don't doubt for a minute that you will have many offers as soon as they find out that you are available. I have always believed that I am the luckiest man in the world to have such a beautiful wife like you, such a wonderful partner in raising children, and, until recently, such a faithful wife and lover. The only thing you're wrong about is going to Hawaii, and I can prove it. Call Lois Simpson at Flight Right Travel Agency. She organized the trip. Here, I'll call you." "Flight Right Travel," Lois says. "We've got some great last-minute deals you won't want to miss. How can I help?" "Lois, it's Jeff Sinclair again. My wife is on speakerphone with me. Now you can tell her about the trip. She has some questions." "Of course, Jeff. I'm really sorry you can't go. You seem so excited to surprise your wife and look forward to this vacation. What questions do you have, Mrs. Sinclair?" "Tell me exactly what this so-called trip involves," Darlene said sarcastically. "This 10-day, two-island trip is our most popular. Hotel, food, transportation, hula lessons, luau, tiki dancers, surfing, swimming, dancing, all in a romantic setting. I've been there with my husband a few times, and it's really spiced up our marriage." "When did my husband first book this trip?" Darlene was confident that this would expose the deception. "Let's see, from my records, he first called about 3 months ago, then chose this particular trip 2 months ago and paid for it 2 weeks after that. Yesterday he called to cancel and get a refund. I'm sorry that I was only able to return 20%. I was pleasantly surprised when he said that you would find someone else to go with you. This tells me what kind of husband he is. You're in luck, Mrs. What other questions do you have? You really need to tell me the other person's name ASAP. I can't book plane tickets until I have a name." "No more questions. I'll call you by name later." Darlene tried to figure out what Miranda would say based on this information. Within seconds, she realized, "You think you've tricked me again, right? You arranged for this Lois to pretend that the trip to Hawaii was planned before I started talking about divorce, but I'm smarter than that." She was proud of herself for figuring it out without Miranda's help. Jeff sighed loudly and suggested, "Will you believe your parents?" "What do my parents have to do with this? Who do you think was supposed to look after the girls while we were away? Here, I'll call them." Darlene was taken aback. "No, you don't need to do that. I need some time to think." "I'm sorry, Dar, I've already dialed the number." "But Jeff." Her mother answered the call and saw the caller's name on the screen. "Darlene, how are the girls? I'm glad to hear from you." "Hi, Mom," Darlene said hesitantly. "Hey, Mom, it's Jeff. We're on speaker together." "Wait a minute, I'll call your father." Darlene and Jeff heard in the background. "Harold, this is Jeff and Darlene. Answer the phone, honey." "Hey, guys, what's wrong?" Harold joined the conversation. After Darlene didn't say anything, Jeff spoke up. "It's about the trip to Hawaii. Darlene knows now, so you don't have to keep it a secret." "Son, we are very sorry that you cannot go. You didn't tell us why when you called this morning. I hope it's not a disease. When you called and said you didn't need us to babysit the girls on the trip to Hawaii because you weren't going, we were disappointed because we expected them to be with us for 10 days. And we were sad for Darlene that you couldn't go with her. We know how much she wanted to go, but she would rather have you with her than someone else. Have you decided who to take with you yet, Darlene? One of the girls. It will be hard for the one who stays." "No, Mom, I haven't decided yet. How long has it been since Jeff talked to you about going to Hawaii?" "I do not remember exactly. Harold, do you remember?" "It was for the new year, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. 2 or 3 months ago. He said he wanted to give us enough time to stock up on junk food. These two can really eat a lot and not gain weight." Darlene's mom interjected. "Jeff, Darlene, is something wrong? Why are you asking when Jeff spoke to us? Are there problems between you? Oh God, are you going to get a divorce?" Darlene replied, "No, Mom, well, not really. We decided that we needed a little space, a little time away from each other to recharge our marital batteries, and then maybe get back together." Jeff interrupted, "Dar, I'm not going to lie to your parents. They have always been honest and frank with me. Mom, Harold, Darlene told me Sunday night that she wants a divorce." In response, there were sighs on the other end of the line. Darlene tried to save herself. "That's not what I really meant. The first step in the divorce process is a 90-day separation. I wanted this time to figure myself out, explore new opportunities, improve myself to become a better wife and mother." "Bullshit," Harold exclaimed. "I know when I hear liberal bullshit. Darlene, do you have a boyfriend on the side?" "No, Dad. No, not at all." Jeff wanted to say something, but decided not to interfere. Harold continued as his wife could be heard sobbing in the background. "Well, that's exactly what it sounds like. I can't believe you would do something like that. We raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be polite to your new man, Darlene. We're sorry, Jeff. At the very least, will you promise that you will let us see our grandchildren after the divorce?" Darlene, now also sobbing, quickly interrupted before Jeff could respond. "There will be no divorce. Jeff exaggerated everything. I take my words back. No divorce. No separation. I'll talk to you later when things calm down." Jeff looked at Darlene as she cried. Finally, he spoke. "You need to come to your senses. The girls will be home soon." Then he headed towards the door with a suitcase in his hands. "Where are you going? Didn't you hear what I said? I don't want a divorce. You don't have to leave." "Darlene, you unilaterally stated that you want a divorce without talking to me first. Now you think you can unilaterally call it off because things aren't going the way you planned. You didn't take into account that I also have the right to vote. After what I've learned about you over the past week, I'm not sure divorce is a bad idea. I'll take a sleeping bag from the garage and sleep in the apartment." "Jeff, Please don't go. I am sorry. You said everything was fine before I started talking about divorce. Can't you just forget about it and go back to the way things were before? You said you were happy. I was happy, very happy. But I can't forget what you said, that you were unhappy, and how you had already planned your separations from Robert. As I said, I believe that you have already cheated on me, even if it was without sex. Sally told me that it would be easy for her to draft the divorce papers, because they were standard terms of divorce. She can probably do it tomorrow. Darlene was determined. I won't sign them. It does not matter. She will just need to officially hand you the documents. I think she can do this at your work so that there are many witnesses. Maybe even file a lawsuit against Robert for alienation of affections. Hey, I could even file a complaint against your boss for violating company rules, but that would result in both of you losing your jobs, and that's a step too far. I need you to be able to take care of the girls after the divorce. I'll just talk to Robert's wife. This will be enough to take revenge on him. Why are you so cruel? I love you and you love me. Is there anything I can do to make amends? You said divorce would be hard for both of us. Don't you want to avoid this pain? I promise never to mention this divorce again. Please stay and let's solve this problem. Tears streamed down Darlene's face. Jeff stood still and silent. Darlene felt that perhaps her words had made an impact. I promise to be the best wife in the world. I won't look at another man. I gave you almost 20 years of a good marriage, 2 wonderful children, supported your business even when it meant you showed up late and dirty. I was so proud of your success. Everyone makes mistakes. Please give me one more chance. Please. Finally, Jeff responded, I'll tell you this. I'll still take the suitcase and sleeping bag to the apartment. I'll ask you to write a few things. Your words and actions have hurt me deeply. If your answers are what I want, I will consider calling off, or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 7 Ezo. You can send the children to their parents or friends so we can talk calmly. Yes, yes. Thank you. What do you want me to write? First of all, I want an apology for starting this whole mess, and for you to beg, not just beg, but beg for forgiveness. Secondly, I want you to tell Robert not to contact you anymore. Threaten him to tell his wife if he doesn't listen. Tell him I can file a lawsuit against him and your company if he doesn't comply. Third, I want you to make a list of all the reasons why I should consider staying married to you. Finally, I want you to call Miranda and tell her that you never want to talk to her again. This is not discussed. If I ever hear the words Miranda said I should, I'll leave. Do you understand what I'm asking of you if you want us to have a chance to stay married? Yes, dear, I think I understand. I'll do everything and be ready for you at 7's. Fine. See you at 7's. Jeff took the suitcase and left. Darlene started at the end of the list. She was rehearsing what to say to Miranda. Listening to you was the worst decision of my life. You almost made me lose everything I hold dear. Never call me, text me, email me, or even think about me again. If you see me in a store or restaurant, leave. Otherwise, I will not be held accountable for my actions. Darlene was surprised at how good she felt after telling Miranda all this. She then called Robert and told him what Jeff said. She didn't care when Robert went from begging for one last meeting at the motel to insulting her and claiming that she was probably a bad lover. She interrupted him, saying that her husband could call his wife if he didn't stop. The hardest task on the list was writing a list of reasons why Jeff should stay married to her. Once she let go of wanting more than she had with Jeff, she was able to think about all the things she loved about their life together. Darlene was able to come up with quite a long list. This should impress Jeff, she thought. She had no problem asking forgiveness for the divorce. How stupid, selfish, and arrogant I was. Never again. By 7,000, Darlene was ready and full of confidence. She got a little worried when 7,000 arrived and Jeff wasn't there. But he returned only 5 minutes later without a suitcase. Darlene noticed that his expression had not changed since leaving. She tried to be as pleasant and humble as possible. Here are my answers. I hope this satisfies you. Jeff looked at the list for a long time. He started crying while reading it. Darlene also began to cry when she saw his tears, but thought that his expression of emotion was a positive sign. Finally, he spoke. "That's very impressive, Dar." Her heart fluttered with hope, and she wanted to hug him, but he motioned for her to return to her place. Again he spoke. "What you have is good, but I still don't feel like you understand how much you hurt me. I'm afraid I'll have to continue with the divorce." Darlene was absolutely devastated. It seemed to her that a 20-kilogram weight had fallen on her heart. She fell to the floor, sobbing inconsolably. In her grief, she said, "I ruined the life of my family. I'm the worst person on earth. I don't deserve to live. How could I be so stupid?" Jeff leaned over to her and whispered, "Now, I think you understand how I felt." With Darlene sobbing on the floor, he walked to the door, stopped, and turned to her. "Am I right that we can date whoever we want during our separation?" His wife could hardly come to her senses to say, "Yes, but..." She couldn't stop crying long enough to continue. "Okay, if we can go anywhere we want what are you going to do on Friday night? Do you want to go out to dinner and watch a movie?" "What? Are you asking me out on a date?" "Yes. I think we've completely ruined our old relationship, but we might have a chance at a new one." Darlene stood up and almost threw Jeff into her arms. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Subscribe to our channel so that your love doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even click to the next one.